Very good day to you, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of the Candid Talk here on Herman Manyora's YouTube channel. My name is Evan. So can you remember this is Kenya's most comprehensive public governance and analysis show. Of course, we are talking about political analysis as well. We are here and our eyes are set on everything that is taking place in our beautiful country, Kenya, and we are more than glad to bring you up to date with comprehensive analysis of the same. I'm here with my excellent guest, Wakili Willis Otieno. Wakili, how are you?
Fine, thank you.
The two Kenyans are still stuck somewhere in Uganda, Bob Njagi and of course Eriko Yo. Of course, these are activists who've been here. The country is actually wondering because I've seen the families are crying and praying left, right, and center, but then the government is not actually responding at all at a time when elections are supposed to be also taking place over there in Uganda. This is not the first time we're witnessing some of these things, but then the kind of silence that we're getting from the government, especially from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, is deafening, and we are actually wondering what is it that is happening here? Why is our government silent? And these are the questions that Kenyans are asking. How do you weigh in on this particular issue, first of all?
The unfortunate thing is that the gallant Kenyans were lawful in Uganda, and they're exercising their democratic rights to associate with their friends. And for them to be held incommunicado in Uganda, and then you have a deafening silence from the Kenyan state is quite telling. And it tells you that Kenya Kwanza does not exist to serve the people of Kenya. Even if you don't agree with someone's political views, they are still entitled to the basic rights in the constitution. And a government is supposed to serve everybody, those who voted for it and those who didn't vote for it. But legacy politicians turn governance when they're in office to be about them. That if you're not their praise singer, now they will not provide for you desired services. So the Kenyan state should be the first one to be demanding of the Ugandan state the status of these people. At the very least, they are entitled to consular services. The state needs to know where they are and the charges, and they can be taken through the criminal trial process, if at all there's any offense alleged. But I don't believe attending a political rally in Uganda constitutes a criminal offense. If anything, we've seen Kipchumba Murkomen attending rallies in Uganda and taking political positions. So why is it that if Kipchumba Murkomen is attending a rally, it's okay? But if Bob Njagi attends a rally, it's wrong. We must change. This is not what the Kenyan people signed up for. Okay? So this failure by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs must be called out. They have a duty to all Kenyans, irrespective of their political views and stance.
What are the diplomatic impacts of these things? Because we are seeing, this is not the first time that we are witnessing some of these things. We saw it when the likes of Martha Karua and of course Boniface Mwangi decided to go to Tanzania in support of course Tundu Lissu therein. And then we are also seeing this situation happening in Uganda, our neighboring country here. A number of people are also arguing on the other end that there is also just the limit to how then we can actually exercise what we call activism in the country and fighting for human rights. And so in terms of relating with our neighboring countries here, what are the limits that our people should actually have so that we do not witness these things that we're witnessing?
There's no limit whatsoever in terms of holding an opinion. Human rights are universal. Okay? I don't know if in Uganda they have restricted the right to freedom of association. That there's some category of things that Ugandans cannot do. But to the extent that I saw Murkomen speaking at a political rally, then I can say Ugandans are allowed to associate with Kenyans. And those Kenyans may have political views on Uganda. So the same treatment should apply to Bob Njagi and any other Kenyan. So there's no restriction, there's no limit. At the end of the day, these borders that you see here are artificial, created by colonialists. So if somebody attends a political rally by the opposition, that opposition is registered in Uganda as an opposition political party. When that party is holding its functions and invites its friends to attend, what is wrong with that? There's nothing wrong with it. Just the same way when the ruling party invites their friends from Kenya Kwanza government to attend, there's nothing wrong with that. You may not like the message, but respect the right to say it. And there's nothing about that the Kenyans should limit how far they engage in activism. Why? Why should they?
Okay. What do you make of the statement by the Inspector General of Police, of course, of Uganda, with regards to the whereabouts of these two individuals? Because he says here that, look, they are not within their custody and they are not aware of where they are. But new rumors has it that they are actually being held at some sort of a facility, a military facility in Uganda.
That is typical of Uganda. People who they perceive to be political, being held on political grounds, that's how they treat them. They take them to military facilities. It's not the first time. Besigye was even dragged into a court-martial until so much noise was made. But it is typical of the Ugandan state, and you don't expect that IG to come out and say that, okay, we have them, when he's denying them the basic rights guaranteed even in the constitution of Uganda. So the right to legal representation, the right to be arraigned in court is in the constitution of Uganda. Why is he denying them that right? So he's borrowing from the typical excuses that Kenya Kwanza policemen used to give here in Kenya. After they've abducted, they deny that we are not with that person. Typical of the regime. Typical also of Tanzania. So we are now the East Africa community of dictators. Okay? So they are all helping each other. What they can't do in Kenya, if you happen to find yourself in a neighboring country, they help the neighboring country to undermine your rights. So abductions, forced disappearances, incommunicado holding.
We've seen this kind of relationship before between Uganda and Kenya. And even we had the abduction of Kizza Besigye right here in this country, and then taken to Uganda, and of course taken to prison. Still his case is going on. But then I saw certain activists also talk of bringing the president into the picture, of course, President William Ruto. What is his role in this? Because from what they were saying is that it will only take a call. If he decides to call President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, then within no time we'll have the two Kenyans released and brought back into the country.
It should not even be about him making a phone call. It should be about the Kenyan state if it cared about its people. Okay? If the Kenyan state cared about its people, then you'll apply diplomatic interventions to make sure that the Kenyan people...
Whom are you referring to as the Kenyan state at this point?
The Kenyan state is the government of the Republic of Kenya. I'm not going to say that William Ruto as an individual to make a phone call. To make a phone call as well. Yeah? It's different. William Ruto, as the head of UDA, who wants to retain power by all means, will not make that phone call. He will not. They see Bob Njagi, as causing them discomfort here in Kenya. So they'll be happy if the leadership of Free Kenya movement is held incommunicado outside. So the head of UDA will not. But maybe the Kenyan government, the state, and its apparatus, if they wanted to intervene and apply diplomatic pressure or interventions, you may see progress.
Can they actually intervene without the knowledge and the goodwill of the so you call the leader of UDA?
But if you're talking to William Ruto, the leader of UDA, there'll be no intervention. But why should the foreign ministry, for example, wait to get a nod from the head of state? That man also only has a brain like any other Kenyan. He has 12 hours like any other Kenyan. He cannot attend to all these things. So what I'm telling you is this. This attitude of, you look at the top, that William Ruto is the one who should make the phone call. No. There are many Kenyans who are getting consular services across the globe every day, without reference to Nairobi. I mean to status, Nairobi. So many Kenyans get consular services and assistance. So the state should be able to do it. Unless you're telling me the state has sent a notice to the rank and file that don't intervene in regard to this one. So we have an ambassador in Uganda, high commissioner in Uganda. Those are the things they should be doing, following up. But they're not doing it. Why? They're now subservient to legacy politics.
Would you look at the families in the eye and tell them that don't expect the president to make any call?
Because if he was known to have, he could intervene, they would not have been arrested.
Okay.
But they can try all means. If that phone call from Ruto will make it change, so be it, because these families need to be with their loved ones. So you may try everything. But that thing has happened because of connivance of the Ruto administration.
The other time I saw the Prime Cabinet Secretary and of course the CS in charge of Foreign Affairs, Musalia Mudavadi, weigh in when the likes of Martha Karua were actually arrested in Tanzania, and they were saying, look, you've taken your bad manners to another country. You've gone there to cause more troubles to them. And perhaps that is why they did not actually intervene so quickly. Do you think that that is the same kind of idea that they actually have with regards to the recent cases that we are now witnessing?
You know, the attitude from the head of that ministry tells you everything. That's what I'm telling you. Expecting anything from that legacy politician setup is a waste of time. Now, if somebody has gone to Tanzania as a Kenyan, as long as he's not gone there to commit an offense, and he gets into a challenge, as the chief diplomat, what should be your response? See, at least secure the safety of your citizens. Him is just saying that you took your bad manners. What bad manners? When did he become a moral police? If they are committing a criminal offense, they will be arrested and taken to the country's courts. Let the court process establish their guilt. So when he's saying they've taken their bad manners to Tanzania, he became the judge, jury, and executioner. Now he knows they are doing bad manners in Tanzania. You see that mindset? That's the mindset that encourages these neighboring countries to do all these manner of things to Kenyans. Martha Karua has a high profile, at least it was noticed. With that kind of attitude on senior citizens, what do you think you're telling the Tanzanians they can do to poor Kenyans who may not have a similar name recognition? Yeah. That is why Ugandan soldiers will come to Migingo and beat up Kenyan police and go back. That attitude.
What do you make of this trend that we are now witnessing across the East African countries? Because it's here that we are actually now looking at these things, Uganda, Kenya, Tanzania. At least that is where we are seeing. We are looking at what is happening in Tanzania, and they're also about to have the elections therein. And Samia Suluhu has decided she's not taking anything for granted this time round. She's making sure that she retains power by whichever means possible. And we've also seen these abductions take place within the country here, and now the other in Uganda. This kind of trend in this particular region, what does it then tell you moving forward with regards to fight on human rights and the position and role of democracy in our region here, if you look at it from that particular point of view?
It's just a confirmation that the legacy political caucuses in East Africa are threatened. And the people of East Africa, as a people, have awakened. So they are putting them to task. So when Salmia is running against Suluhu in the Tanzania elections, that he's the only candidate, so to speak, it's not that the Tanzanian people are happy with that. No, they're agitating. They're expressing themselves. In fact, Tanzania TikTok is now very much alive. People are speaking about the things they want. They're rejecting that charade that Samia has organized. So also in Uganda, look at Bobby Wine is doing his massive mobilization, helping people to express their true feelings about the elections in that country. Look at Kenya, the same thing. So it just tells you the people are agitating for common issues that affect them. Their own issues. That's where the eyes on the ball is. But legacy politicians, to them, they still want to hold on to power. You may have that power, but you don't have the people. Just a shell, a tool of oppression. You will not give them any peace. If the people are singing their praises as they are committing these atrocities, I will be worried. But the fact that the people across the divide are agitating, they are not coward, that to me tells you that the people are in the right frame, in the right space, to agitate for that which is rightfully a governance that responds to their needs.
Well, therein you have it, ladies and gentlemen. You can weigh in and tell us what you actually think here. But the bigger question that we are asking, what is the Ministry of Foreign Affairs doing in this country with regards to the plight of the two Kenyans who are stuck in Uganda? Does the Ministry of Foreign Affairs really exist in the first place? And if it didn't exist, then what is it that they're doing to ensure that those Kenyans are brought home safely? Meanwhile, the families are still crying out there and praying that they may be united with their loved ones as soon as possible. We wish that the government listens and does the necessary. Allow me to stop for now, ladies and gentlemen. Wait and tell us what you think. If you're watching us for the first time, kindly subscribe to our channel here. My name is Evans Okinyi.